And I'm muted. Isn't that great? What I wanted to say was thank you so much for joining us. This is a very special show that is very near and dear to my heart. We are celebrating Veterans Day. Of course, that is tomorrow, November 11th. But it is also going to be a day that Sir Grace and I are going to go out and enjoy some of the Veterans Day programs that are going on in our community. So I wanted to make sure that we take the time to thank all of our veterans and their families for their service and sacrifice to this country. Of course, we celebrate Armed Forces Day back in May, and then Memorial Day is also in May. So tomorrow is Veterans Day. So thank you to all of our veterans. I'm just going to see who's in the chat real quick. I have a couple of special guests down in the basement. I'll bring them up in just a second. First off, we have Joe Fix It For You. He's a military family with Nisi being in the Army. So hey, Glenda and Sir Grace, thank you for your service. Well, as a military family from one to another, thank you for your sacrifice and support of Nisi as she's serving our country right now. And Rebecca Touch by Yarn is here. Hey, I'm so glad you're here. Thank you so much for popping in, and love all the patriotism. Thank you so much. It is just a special weekend. And then, Teresa Jukowitz. Oh my goodness, Teresa. Thank you so much for being here. Sending you big hugs, girl. And then a great big thank you to all for your service for our great country. Yes. And then you're starting to drive. No problem. So you're going to be just podcast styling, as I like to say. Oh, and there's the beautiful Aunt Lynn. Hey, Aunt Lynn. She's hanging out in the basement. And then, Rebecca says, my father, sister, cousins, and nephew all have been in the military. And if you have any family chat, let me know who has served in your family or whatnot. So Sir Grace served in the United States Air Force for 16 years, and he was injured in the line of duty and ultimately medically retired out from the service. And I am very grateful that he is here. That's the most important thing. But as a military spouse, it was great to be right there by his side through all of his military career. So we have had just wonderful adventure. Oh, Miss Christine is here. Hey, girl, listening while I work. Love you, girl. Hey, I love you too. And you just listen away. I was listening to you guys last night as we've been working on the kitchen remodel. I wasn't quite in the chat, but I definitely was listening and watching y'all up on the big TV. So you just do what you've got to do. No problem. And I know Christine was an Air Force brat, as we like to say. And for those who don't know, when you use the term brat, it does not mean you're a bratty person. It's a thing of endearment. And I think it's a cool club to be a part of. And I know that my children love saying that. They just don't love to say where they're from. They have a hard time with that because the kids in our area are all pretty much from this area. So they lived around the world, literally. And I just tell them, pick your favorite place and say that's where you're from, right? Or just say I'm a citizen of the world, whatever. And then, Beverly is here. My dad served in the Army. Oh my goodness. Did you get to travel with your dad, or was that at a different time? Let's see here. Who else is in the house? Oh, Sylvia Jackson is here. I'm trying to get your comment up. Hi, everyone. Air Force brat here, but also born in Japan. Well, Sylvia, I lived in Japan, and I have 2 of my kids were born there. So it is a beautiful country. I don't know if you have any memories of living in Japan, but it was a beautiful country, and the culture is so intriguing. And I loved going downtown Tokyo by myself and just hanging out with the locals and seeing all the culture and trying the new foods. And my grandfather was in the Army, and he was stationed in Japan. And kind of a funny story on that one, he had me thinking what Japan was like. Of course, he was there for the World War II, or during World War II, and was kind of afterwards. And he gave this picture of country like, and at that time I'm thinking, oh great, I'm moving to the country. And no, I moved to the world's largest city. We were on the outskirts of Tokyo. And what a culture shock it was for me, because I went from a small town, maybe at the time, maybe 5,000 people, maybe, to world's largest city. And I didn't like it for the first 6 months, I'll be honest, but I got out and traveled and loved it. And that's my recommendation to every military spouse is don't sit at home, get up, go out, go see the place, no matter where you're at, stateside or overseas. Go check it out, because life's an adventure. So beautiful, beautiful place. Oh, and my mother is here. She says, hello, everyone. Glad to see each of you. Please give Glenda a thumbs up. Yes, I would appreciate that. And then, oh, but it's so, see, just our house and train redos my mom. Oh, okay. Let's see here. We were Tokyo, Tachikawa Air Force Base. Girl, I know where Tachikawa is at. Yeah, I know exactly where that's at. Now it is Yokota Air Base. And parts of the base is still in Tachikawa. And I loved the mall there. I remember going into Tachikawa all the time. And in fact, I would travel out of the train system out of Tachikawa and go see the area too. So yeah, I'm very familiar with Tachikawa. Let's see here. Oh, and my aunt is saying hi to my mom, if I can speak correctly. So anyhow, well, I am rocking my Air Force caregiver shirt. I was not in the military, just so that way everybody understands. I was a military spouse, and now I'm a caregiver. And this shirt was presented to me from Air Force Wounded Warriors, because Sir Grace, he did some adaptive sports, and while he was doing the adaptive sports with other wounded warriors, they took the caregivers aside, and they had subject matter experts to help us guide through some of this medical stuff that is not often known. And then we had resiliency training, and we got to do fun things together and got to connect with other caregivers. And caregivers are not normally spouses. They're typically a sister, a brother, a parent, a friend, a neighbor. So there's not very many of us that are spouses, but it was wonderful to go and hang out. So I love rocking my Air Force Wounded Warrior caregiver shirt when I can. Let's see here. Oh, Beverly was in Istanbul, Turkey. Oh, I've heard of that. I heard that's a really cool place to go visit. I never got to go. But I've heard nothing but really nice things. Let's see here. You have your turkey in the Instapot, Beverly? No, she's talking about Istanbul, Turkey. That's where they were at. Yeah, so I know that I have a couple of people in the basement, but their cameras are off. So I'm just waiting to see if they're ready to come on up. But anyhow, so I am so grateful to each of our veterans. I just want you to know that without you guys, we wouldn't have the freedoms that we have today. And I'm just so deeply in gratitude. It is also Warrior Care Month. And this is the time that we honor our veterans, caregivers, family members who are taking care of a loved one. So yeah, so I guess my Aunt Lynn is ready. I don't know. I guess you're going to come up. I'm going to add you to the stage. She doesn't have her she's camera shy today. Okay. Hey, Aunt Lynn. Are you there?
Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Are you going to keep your camera on?
No, it's been raining here, and my hair is like, oh my gosh, right?
Oh, that's how mine's doing today too. And then I guess my mother is going to come on up. Hey, Mom.
Hey, can you hear me okay?
I sure can. I can hear you
great.
just fine.
Yeah, good. No, I have the same issue. My hair is not looking too good. I have pretty much a fuzz head this morning, this afternoon. And
Oh,
we went out earlier and went to the grocery store and did all that. So, I mean, yuck. I don't like it
well,
when my
that's what
hair's
my hair's
yucky.
doing. It is.
Huh?
My hair's doing it too.
I
It
don't
is.
have any makeup on either. I
Oh
try
my
not to do
goodness!
that.
The horror.
It
Oh my
it
God.
is. It is. It is horror without makeup, but no, we're glad to be here this afternoon and to help support you. And
Yes.
Glenda was born into an army family,
I was.
and
So
so
I'm part
she
of
is.
that military brat.
Yeah, she was a military brat born over in Honolulu, Hawaii. That was a terrible duty station. Haha. No, it was fabulous. And then we had a child out of service, poor
Yep.
little thing.
Oh,
But
yep.
yep. And then we had one more that was born in the service in Massachusetts.
Yeah, but she
So
wasn't born on a military installation.
no, it was a wonderful. Yeah, they didn't have the hospital
It was
didn't do
wonderful.
OB
Isn't
there.
that funny? That's what you're going to say. It was a wonderful hospital, though.
Oh, that was the first. Yeah, she was born in Concord, Massachusetts, and it was a wonderful small community hospital then, a long, long time ago. And what I loved about it was two things. They had these little color TVs that you could listen with your earbuds, and they were about the size of my cell phone, just a regular. That's how big the TV was, and it was on a little moving arm, and they showed you how to use it and everything, and it was like such high technology, and it was wonderful. And the food was so good.
Which
I mean,
those who had children in military installations, when you go to a civilian hospital, there's just some really cool things. You're like, wow, I'm missing out. I had this kid in a military base, and now look what the civilians have.
well,
Right.
when you were born, they had what they called rooming in with your baby. As soon as you were awake, they would bring your baby to you, and you, for the day, were responsible for them and trying to take care of yourselves too. And then they made us attend classes.
Yeah.
Just real basic, like how to diaper your baby, how to do this and how to do that, and how to prevent having another one right away.
Okay.
So yeah, so it was fine.
Yeah, but you were a military spouse for how many years?
11.
11 years. Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. Traveled around, got to see different things.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And now you're currently married to a veteran.
Yes, I am.
Different guy.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm different.
We love us some Dave, but Dave was in the Army.
Yes.
Dave of Dave's Gaming Cave. I'm just making a shameless plug for the channel.
Then
Dave was in the Army.
yes, and also was your aunt and
Yes,
her
Aunt
hubby.
Lynn. You know what?
Mhm.
So Aunt Lynn, how long did you
Yes.
serve in the Army?
3 years.
How many?
3
I'm
years.
sorry.
3 years.
3 years. Okay. Yep. And
Yep.
then what was some of the highlights of being in the Army?
Well, if I hadn't met my current husband of almost 48 years, I was going to stay in because I thoroughly enjoyed the service. At first, it was very difficult. You're going through boot camp, and then you're going to your first MOS, your first teaching station, you might say, where you're going to have your classes. And when the bus just drops you off on the sidewalk, you're on your own. You've got to carry your duffel bag, all the other bags, and try to find the barrack that you've been assigned to. At that moment, it's not all fun and games, but it's like anything new. You just, you get used to it. You understand it. And I still have 2 lifelong friends from when I was in. We are on Facebook together. My dear friend that became my matron of honor when I married in the Army. And then another friend that was in boot camp with me, and we still connect. We still do. So I had good. I would have stayed, but I did meet my husband, and we had our first son while I was active. And back then, fraternity, you know, help me out, Glenda. What do we call bivouac? What do we call our uniform? We didn't have uniforms. There you go. And so I was in clothes, which was highly unusual because I still felt in every day. I had to wear them, you know, at first until I could no longer wear them. Then I was allowed to wear civilian clothing, but I still worked the whole time up until 6 weeks before. I still worked and got up at like 5:30 in the morning and had to be on base. And so I kept up my job. So I enjoyed it. It was very good.
You know what I think is really cool, though, about your military service is that you were one of the last WACs, WACS, right? No, yeah.
They were winding down on Women's Army Corps, and they were going to try and change over to enlisted men, enlisted women. And I really wasn't for that. I was proud to be a WAC, a Women's Army Corps member. I was proud of that. And my son surprised me for my birthday, and he bought me, it is a cap, it's a hat, and it says Women's Army Corps on it. And it does have the picture of Athena. She was our matron of whatever, watched over the WACs, I guess. So I'm going to wear it tomorrow. And
I'm so glad you're going to wear it. That's awesome.
Yes, I am going to wear it tomorrow. I have to sport it. My son, I have to support my son too, because he purchased it for me. And he said he had a really hard time finding a Women's Army Corps hat.
Yeah, I don't think there's very many still around, though. I mean,
No.
You think about it because they disbanded the program. So, so it's changed. But yeah, that's a pretty cool fact about you, is that you were part of that.
I want to say Sylvia, she said that this morning in their church service that they honored their service members, and we did in our church too, Sylvia. So, cameraman and I stood up and they honored veterans today.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I love that. And so Sir Grice was in the Air Force, and that was a lot of fun too. But I just got to experience the spouse side. I actually wanted to join the military. There was a point where when we lived over in Japan, I looked at him and I said I wanted to serve. This was before 9/11. So Sir Grice is pre 9/11 and post 9/11.
Yes.
And so I almost joined the Air Force. And I always say that's my biggest regret is that I didn't do that.
Yes.
But I stood right by Sir Grice's side, and I volunteered within his unit and also on a couple of the military installations just as volunteers for different things. So so I kept up with it in that way, which was nice. I never got it when a lot of military spouses get into this thing where they go like to the NCO clubs and stuff, and they get into these groups and they think they wear their husband's rank and blah, blah, blah. I never got into that. I just really enjoyed serving my community and paying it back, for what they've done for us, which was amazing.
Well, the enlisted, when we were in, the enlisted were not, if you were enlisted, you were not to fraternize with the officers. And we had a couple that they had a little boy, same age as you, that we met in church, and we became friends. So anytime they would go to our house, we played cards. We had to be very discreet because it could get both of the fellas in trouble because he was a captain. And, so I don't know if that is still policy.
In the Army, I think it still is. But when Sir Grice was in the Air Force, a lot of the spouses that I hung out with really just kind of just hung out with each other.
Yeah.
My very first introduction into the military, Sir Grace's commander, his first one, pulled me aside right when I got to Japan, because that was the first duty station. And he wanted to do a welcome to being a military spouse. What questions do you have, kind of thing, just one-on-one. And one of the things that he told me, he said, just be careful because some spouses get real catty. And he said, I'm going to tell you something. I want this to stick in your head for the rest of his career. And honestly, it stayed in my head for the rest of my life. He said, Glenda, he said, your husband works for the government that works for you. And I said, okay. He said, you pay taxes.
That's right.
Working. And so you're paying for Sir Grace's paycheck. He said, really? He said, you outrank Sir Grace and every commander out there. Don't let anybody intimidate you. That was my welcome to the military. But no, I had a lot of friends, all ranks. I never told anybody what Sir Grace's rank was, unless, of course, if they saw him in uniform, then they knew. But when he medically retired out, I was a PTO president for a local elementary school on the military installation that we lived at. And I remember having a conversation with one of my friends, and her husband was retiring. He had served as long as he could. And so he was just retiring out. And she said, I'm just worried about our finances flipping upside down, just kind of like that scared, because you're leaving your comfort, right? And you're going going back to your home. And I said, yeah, I'm really, really, really concerned because he didn't get quite to retirement. He got to medical retirement, but it's less pay, right? She looked over at me and she said, I thought you were an officer's wife.
Oh, well, you presented yourself well.
What makes you think I was an officer's wife? And I come to find out it had to do with the house that we lived in, and she knew who some of my friends were. And I'm like, no, I enjoy being with everybody. That's just who I am, But yeah, it was kind of funny. But no, Sir Grace was enlisted, and if she had asked, I would have told her. But I just don't think about those things. I'm like, I got other things to do, kids to raise, and trying to just give back to a community. That's just.
Well, I know I felt a real sense of community because our friends that we had in the where we lived on base, and then church, there was a sense of community, and some of the ladies that I would come into contact with either loved the military or hated it and couldn't stand it.
Still the same.
Yeah, I think. And back then, I mean, what we did is we all had Tupperware parties and jewelry parties and everything you can think of. But it was a way to, we'd get together and everybody bring food, and we'd have maybe 5 or 6 or more ladies, and it was fun. It was fun. And what I liked about the military is, in the military is every person, every kind of a person there, you know what I'm saying?
Every background, every race.
Yes, yes. And
it's a wonderful community.
Everybody's equal.
Yeah.
We are equal.
Well, and that's what heaven's supposed to look like.
Exactly. Exactly. So we had friends, we had all kinds of friends.
Every walk of life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we got along. Nobody had issues. We didn't have, other than the catty wives, right?
Yeah. Hey, real quick, Mr. Randy Smith is in the house. He's an airman.
Wonderful.
Yes, he served in the U.S. Air Force.
Wonderful.
And
Scott.
My big brother's here. He has a son that's in the Canadian Army. Please tell him I said hello and thank you for your service to this your country. But I know that when we, unfortunately, when conflicts happens or war happens, we go out with other countries, and Canada is one of our coalition partners.
Yes.
And so they deploy with our people, and we deploy with their people, and
Mhm.
we're family, So
Absolutely.
please tell him I said
Absolutely.
thank you for his service to his country. That means a lot to me as an American. So thank you so much.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and then, okay. So, we also have we have our grandfather who had served in the Army for, I think, 3 years, if I'm not mistaken. Is that
3 or
correct?
4, yeah. Yes.
Okay. And then on my paternal side, I have a grandfather that served in the Navy. So we come, and then cameraman was in the Marines. So it's pretty well balanced here. But we
Mhm.
just need somebody to join the Space Force so we can say
Right.
we've got them.
Anne, are you up to it?
The Space
Are you
Force?
ready, Anne?
They probably want to put me on a rocket one way.
No.
One-way ticket. Yeah, get rid of her. Get rid of her. Put her on one of them rocket ships.
On a funny note, when we would, a few years ago, I'd take Sick Grace, and there's a store that I really like to shop at, but it sits right next to a recruiting station,
Uh-huh.
And I told him, I said, I've got this idea, and he goes, "What is it?" And I said, "How would you like to go on a lifelong adventure?" And he goes, "Okay." And I said, "Travel the world." And he goes, "Okay." And I said, "And get free insurance," because that's the joke that military spouses join or marry their military
Oh,
members because of
for the
free
medical.
insurance.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Huh?" And I went, "I'm thinking on joining the military." And he goes, "You're too old." I'm like, darn
Yes.
it.
I know.
So yeah, but it's so funny. I'm like, you too could become a dependopotamus, which is kind of like what they say about military spouses. We're dependopotamus, but you too can be a dependopotamus and be my dependent. And so
Yeah.
Well, before you were born,
yeah.
I was going to join the military too. It was between joining together with your or going and getting married and going
Right.
that way. So
Oh,
I love my children, but I made the wrong choice.
should have joined the military, but then you wouldn't have me.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, you would, because I had my son and then went back
Well,
out.
It may
Washington
not have been
State.
May not have worked out the same.
No, it may not have worked out the same. No, but no regrets. I mean, sometimes, you wish you had done a lot of things,
Oh, absolutely.
but that was on the radar for both of us to join
Yes.
and
Yes.
get married. And, but only he did. So you're here. So yay.
Sure.
And I got to see Hawaii.
I mean, how hard is that?
I know.
Oh,
I had a
Well, the
friend-
hardest part was just being away from your grandma,
yeah.
and my mom and dad and my, brother and sister. That was the hard part. And back then you wrote letters, wrote lots of letters. And then when those little tape recorders came out, we made tape recordings, and somewhere that's lost in the world was a recording I made of you and all your cooing and gooing and all that I sent back home to them. And when that little cassette would arrive, I was so excited, and to hear everybody talking on it, and the phone call back home, I could do it one time during the month, and it was like $30. So
right.
technology has changed, and I'm glad that we don't have to be, like that right now.
Right.
I know.
Right. Well, I remember when I moved to Japan, the internet was still kind of new.
Yes, very new.
We still did videos. We didn't do tapes, but we sent videos home with you because I bought a camcorder.
Mhm.
But I remember getting excited whenever we had AOL.
Yes.
Go, you got mail. And it was
Yes.
like an email from mom, like, hi,
Yeah.
Glenda, I'm thinking of you today, and but it would go, you got mail. And I'm like, oh,
Yes.
so
gosh.
excited.
Or a package in the mail from home, you
Yeah.
know.
Oh, Sir Grace's grandmother would send us maple syrup from Wisconsin.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
She had
Mm.
a family friend that they had a sugar shack up there, and they would make, oh my goodness, this wonderful syrup. So we would get that sent from her, and then she would send us pedophores at Christmas.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
Yeah, so we love those packages, just like a little bit of home coming
Yes.
over there. And same whenever we lived in England as well. They did the same thing for us. But by then, you could Skype one another
Yes. We did
and
Skype.
see each other's
Mhm.
faces.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah,
Mhm.
it was fun. And phone calls were a little bit cheaper by that point.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So and my mother-in-law would call me quite a bit because she wanted to talk to her grandkids. I'm like, all right, you could talk to your grandkids. And then I remember, on a funny note, I remember the jets flying over, and I knew how many would fly in a pattern. Like, okay, well, it's this time, so hang on a second, I can't hear you. And then I'd count the jets flying over. I'm like, okay, now we can talk. So
Oh,
it was so much fun. What did Randy say? As old as you are, there's been a lot of changes. Yeah,
Oh,
there
my.
has been. There really has. And then I have a nephew that just joined the service. And
mhm.
so it'll be interesting to see what changes are for him as he goes forward with his career.
Yeah.
Let's see. I don't have my volume up because I'm out hunting. Shh, he's hunting a rabbit. Shh.
Rascally rabbit? That
Rascally
rascally rabbit?
Have fun there, Josh. If you come back and you hear it, come back and listen. But I wish you all the best. I hope to hear a good hunting story, like it was this big, and really it's like maybe like this big.
That's
So,
great. That's great.
no, I'm sure you'll
Wow.
have a really good catch. So I'm wishing you all the best he's going to come back and be the replay squad. You come on back. And yes, this is what we're celebrating. Thank you, everyone,
Yes.
for your service to our great country and to our amazing people. God bless you all. Yes, that's exactly what
US.
we're here for.
USA. Yes.
Hey,
You
Glenda,
Yes, ma'am.
Lynn is the one that usually does this. What's happening on that day.
Yeah, let's do it.
I've got it. I've got some here that are. First of all, we want to say happy birthday to our mother.
Yes.
She is 94 today. We went into her room singing happy birthday.
Did you
Yes.
really?
Yep. Yes. Cameraman and my son and I, we walked in, singing happy birthday.
Well,
Oh.
today is National Remembrance Sunday. Remembrance Sunday. Also, the Marine Corps birthday
249 years old.
and USMC Day.
Yeah, that's the United States Marine Corps Day.
Oh, well, sorry. I got two of
They
them.
have a birthday.
Well, hey. Well, okay. Today is Sesame Street Day. That just says it all, right?
Right there.
Sesame Street.
And also International Tongue Twister Day.
Oh, I think we had some tongue twisters. I think I started out without my mic turned on. So,
Oh. Let's see. It's International Accounting Day.
okay.
Yuck. National Forget-Me-Not Day. The
Okay.
little flowers.
Yeah.
And National Vanilla Cupcake Day.
Ooh, I wonder if it's
Oh.
La Vencedora.
Yes, that's only the best way to
It's
to
the
bake.
winner. Jesse
Oh.
and Lisa. Yes.
I
There we
missed
go.
this. World Science Day for Peace and Development, which is
Wow.
we want peace.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Peace
Hey,
in the world.
So back to the Marine Corps' birthday, 249 years. I want to just say happy birthday to our Marines. and I can't. I'm gonna try this. Hooah!
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 That's what we got. So,
Hooah.
Yes.
hello, Uncle
Hooah.
Cameraman. Thank you for your service and happy birthday, because he was part of the Marine Corps.
Yes. Yes.
And once a Marine, always a Marine.
And while I was in, the Army had, I can't remember how many years the Army celebrated, but
Oh, I
was
do.
it was one of their big anniversaries. And they had a ball, a ball for the officers and them.
Oh,
And
we went
it
to
was a
one.
big to do on base. Big to do.
It was we went to the 200th birthday of the Army.
That's what I did then. Okay.
You do that, and I had to get a special dress and everything.
Oh. I didn't, because I didn't partake in those. We were just enlisted people, but they had fireworks. But they did fireworks. So so a group of us got a blanket and just laid on the watch fireworks, and it was fun. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's fantastic. So the 50th anniversary of the United States Air Force happened while Sir Grace was in the military, and I want to say that he had to go to an official function, and for some reason I didn't go. I want to say maybe because of the children, I didn't have a babysitter, but he was required to go. So I know that he went to that. Now, we did other events for sure, different dances and balls and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't go to the 50th, but I want to say it's just because we didn't have a babysitter for that night. But now we've gone to galas since he's been out of the military. I've gone to a couple of them.
That 200th birthday was on June the 14th of 1775. You were just a little blip, just a little kernel inside me.
All right. So see, I was around then, but I'm a bicentennial baby. So
you are. You're bicentennial.
I'll always remember when how old the country is, because I have to go, how old am I?
1776. Yes.
That's old. Hell, I'm forgetting everything. I'm just going to say I was born in 1776.
1976.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to say 1776.
Oh.
I'm forgetting everything. That's going to be my thing.
Yes. Yes.
And I see Conquest Josh has joined us. Woo-hoo.
Yes, we were just talking about him hunting, and
yes.
Josh was.
Well, I'm going. I have 2 tabs going so I can see.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, Josh was in the Army. I'm not sure how long he served. He will come back and he'll have to tell us in the chat later whenever he hears it. But
who's young, Scott? Me or Glenda?
I think Glenda. And
he's
met
I
you
was
before.
born in 1776. I'm older.
He's met you before, Anne.
That's we shouldn't meet people. We don't want them to know how old we really are.
What we look like. No,
I'm just kidding. We don't care.
Absolutely.
I
don't care.
Mr. Mama.
That was a blessing.
It's the Botox, Scott. It's the Botox.
Yes.
That's what I'm going to say. It's the Botox.
It's the Botox. Well,
I get Botox for migraines, so
yes.
Yeah. And Scott, we had a great time, didn't we? The 4 of us. We
drug him to a bunch of antique stores
but he likes antiques, his wife, and so it was fun. Oh, okay. Somebody's coming in right there. There he is.
Yes, Buddy had to come and make sure I'm okay. So he slipped up here for just a second, and he's going to do his turn. Yeah, he is. And he is the sweetest pupperoo. And I think are you trying to say thank you for your service to all of our veterans? Because he takes
we want to say thank you to him. We want to say thank you to him. As a service dog, he is very much a key component in your family.
He really is. And I will say that he comes from an organization called Canines for Warriors. They're the largest service dog organization in the United States. And they take care of our veterans who have PTSD and MST. So Yeah, they are a very near and dear organization to my heart. I'm getting kissed right now. My whole hand is being, thank you, sweet boy. Um, I guess he's saying thank you for mentioning Canines for Warriors.
And
You're welcome.
Glenda, if anyone that's in chat or comes back for the replay
Mm,
and they know someone who needs a service dog, they
yeah.
can reach out and private message you, can't they? And you can
Yes.
get them information.
Yeah. I mean, they
You're a good
absolutely
source.
can. I would recommend I only know the military resources when it comes to that. I wish I knew more of the civilian side. But I always recommend when it comes to a service dog, if you have a loved one who needs one, or maybe you need one for yourself, my recommendation would always be to look at the ADI accredited service dog organizations, especially for veterans with a mobility issue or maybe a blind issue, like they need a guide dog, because the VA has insurance through Trupanion, and it saves the veterans a lot of money. Let me just shut this door real quick. There we go. Sorry. But the service dog, if it's for a veteran, they must come from an ADI accredited service dog organization, which I think is really good because a lot of people don't realize how much training goes into a service dog. There is 400 hours of training per task that went into that particular dog, and there's several tasks that he does. So if that gives you any indication of how much training went into him, it's incredible. And then there's recertifications every year. We're right now at the point that not only are we doing recertifications, we're looking at the health of the dog, which is something that I love about Canines for Warriors, is that they really do think about the dog too. It's not just a working dog, but it's the whole thing. And, so it really does help if the dog comes from an ADI accredited service dog organization. In order for that insurance to happen, it's done through prosthetics at the VA. The primary care or your mental health care can help with the paperwork at that point.
Yeah.
I had to an FRCC, which is a Federal Recovery Care Coordinator, help me out with Sir Grace's puppy to get that insurance. But typically that's done through the primary or the mental health provider for that. So, or maybe a case manager can help too. But you have to have all of the documents in line and proof that they come from a service dog or an ADI accredited service dog organization. It's a lot of work, but it's really worth it. And if somebody is going that route, start looking it up now so you're prepared, because the VA, you kind of have to help them along the way with it. So get educated on is my recommendation.
And don't give up. Don't get discouraged.
No, don't be persistent with, it goes with anything within the VA. If you're not getting the care that you need, or there's something you need help with, keep asking, keep, no should not always be the final answer. If it's not the right answer for you, keep going, if you don't have an advocate, find somebody that would help you out. Maybe come in to an appointment with you and have that conversation, maybe that is witnessing things. So that way they can speak, you can have that advocacy and get some things checked off the box that maybe you're not thinking of. It goes well with even in a civilian world too. Sometimes Sir Grace will go with me to my own doctor's appointment. He goes, "You forgot to tell your doctor." And I'm like, or I'll go, "Oh, thank you." He's starting to do that now. I think he's learned how I operate with his providers. So
I'll have to tell you all a funny thing that happened to me. About 30 some years ago, I worked for a surgeon in his office.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. And I would, I would check them in and take them to a room and pull their record, put it on the door there, and go and tell him that the patient was ready to see. And I tell you, patients, I always walked into the room with them, and got them settled. And I'd say, "How are you doing today?" Oh my gosh, this hurts. This is wrong. This is wrong. Oh my, tell me everything, right?
Right.
And my doctor would walk in and say, hello there. How are you doing today? I'm just fine. And I finally got to where I spoke up and I'd say, that's not what you told me. You need to tell doc what's going on with you. And they would. But
Right.
it's funny, you see the doc and you're like, I'm fine.
I'm fine. I'm fine. Yeah, no, it's you want to always speak up with your medical providers.
Yes.
I
Because
take a list.
yeah, and if you have to go by yourself.
I take a list.
Very,
You know.
very much so.
Yeah.
Very, very much so. And that, just to make sure you get everything. And if not, use the the My Charts. A lot of them have My Charts where you can go in and message them if you forget something, and you can go, hey, this is what I forgot to have this conversation with.
Right.
And yeah, it's very,
yeah.
it's not hard, but if you can take somebody with you, I would recommend that too. You know what I mean?
Right. It's called My Healthy Vet.
Yes, through the
And
VA, it's My Healthy Vet.
Right. And we registered at the VA because we wanted to have the blue button, which is private messaging, and it's a whole different area that opens up for you.
Right, right.
And so that's what I did. And so did Cameraman. We went to the VA and gave them all the information that we needed so that we could send a private message back and forth and access our chart. Yes.
Yes.
It's like in civilian doctors, you have a chart, My Chart. Yes.
Right. So make sure you're communicating with your provider. But I also, kind of speaking on the advocacy side of things, I'm also a caregiver. And just recently, the Elizabeth Dole Foundation commissioned the RAND Corporation to do another comprehensive study as an update to the 2012 caregiver research study that RAND had done as well. In 2014, I was at the White House with joining forces when the initial study came out. And at that time, they said that there were 5.5 million military and veteran caregivers in the United States. That study now says that there are 14.3 million. In 10 years, that's how many caregivers, how much has increased that are taking care of our wounded, ill, and injured veterans.
Wow.
Yeah. And let's see here. And it also says among all military and veteran caregivers, individuals reported spending 83. That's 8,583 out of pocket each year on delivering care and foregoing more than $4,000 in annual income. It could be one reason why 1/3 of the military and veteran caregivers report incomes below 130% of the federal poverty level. And in my personal note, I had to quit my job to take care of Sir Grace because it became a full-time thing. So it's very important to, in my opinion, to take care of him. You know what I mean? It's my honor to take care of Sir Grace because he has given so much to this country.
Yes.
But it does come at a price. And there are resources for caregivers out there. So if you are one or you know somebody who's one, first off, you're not alone. 14.3 million military and veteran caregivers. You know, that's a lot. We're tucked into every city and across this nation. So a lot of them don't self-identify either, and they just feel lost and alone. So there are resources, like I said. I absolutely love hiddenheroes.org. That's the Elizabeth Dole Foundation, which I have done some advocacy with them. And I've gone to Capitol Hill and helped get legislation passed. So now I was part of a team. It wasn't me that did it. I want to make sure I say that correctly. It was Senator Dole leading the charge, but caregivers can get all eras of caregivers can now be part of the VA caregiver program. Now because of this legislation that has been passed, it's open to all eras, whereas before it was only the post 9/11 caregivers. So they have resources. And I also share the Department of Defense Caregiver Resource Guide online. That is a Pandora's box. I will warn you. You sit down, you kind of go through it, and you think about what your veteran might need, or maybe what your family might need, or you need assistance for something. It is a Pandora's box that gets opened up. On a personal note, I use that to find the scholarships and grants to help me pay for the kids' college education, and anything and everything I thought that they could be qualified for. I made them fill out those applications and write those essays. And that's how we got our kids through college, was because of that DoD Caregiver Resource Guide. So there are resources out there. And if you don't know where to start with hiddenheroes.org. That is my favorite organization on the caregiver side of things. Senator Dole, I have met her personally. I think of her as my Aunt Senator Dole. She is an incredible woman. She started the foundation when she went to Walter Reed. Senator Bob Dole had been at Walter Reed, and she was running into caregivers who felt lost and alone. There were no resources because everybody's focus is on the service member, as it should be. I don't want to take anything away from our service members or the veterans. I don't want to take it away, but caregivers become isolated. They don't have friends. They don't have the knowledge how to do this. They're maybe in corporate America having to come in and learn this medical stuff hardcore, and just doing the best that they can, raising families. And she saw the struggles that our community was having. And so she commissioned the RAND Corporation to do that comprehensive study in 2012 with the help of Lilly Endowment, which is a fun Hoosier fact because they helped to fund that. In 2014, that came out. And I have seen in the past 10 years since I became a Dole Fellow, the changes in the caregiver community. I'm able to now go into the VA and I'm not being told, shut up, I don't want to hear from you, as I was being told when Sir Grace came back from war. They did not want to hear from the spouse. They thought I was a whiny lady that was just here to complain. And that's not the truth. I was there to say, hey, you're missing this, this, and this is what I'm seeing. They didn't want to hear from me. So since Senator Dole has done that, now the VA wants to hear from me. And that I appreciate. I always try to let Sir Grace go first and let him, because it's his appointment, it's his care, it's affecting him. But then I come in behind and I go, okay, this is what we're missing. This is what we're missing. Or what's the side effect of this? What is, what's the prognosis? What's the data? Just to make sure that we're making wise decisions. And then I'm also noticing, I know some people don't like Starbucks, but Starbucks actually hires caregivers. That's kind of a little known fact. They hire the military caregivers. They have a support. So coming from corporate America, there are people that are wanting to hire caregivers. A lot of us had to quit our jobs and trying to navigate that work caregiving balance is extremely hard, because we have to take leave. So I'm seeing that change. I'm also seeing it coming from some of like the bigger churches. The members of the clergy are actually trying to find ways to help the caregivers out within their own churches. It's really incredible to see the change in 10 years, and it's been positive. While the 2024 study had come out and a lot of things have changed, maybe got bigger than what they realized it was. Her motto is there is more work to be done. And so when I say she is a champion for this community, I mean it. And I can say that full-heartedly. She is one of the most kindest women I've ever met. There have been times when she has called me out of the clear blue for certain events that have happened in my life, good and bad. She's given me some of the most sound advice. She's been a cheerleader. So I have a lot of wonderful things to tell about her. She's just an incredible woman, but I love how she's championing for our community. It's really just helped me become a better caregiver for my husband.
Yes.
So, and that all started because Bob was in the hospital at Walter Reed, and she observed, you know,
Yes.
that it means a lot to me. So every time I see her, I'm like, thank you for what you're doing. Thank you. You have no idea. It's making a positive impact. And it's nice to see other caregivers rise up too. So,
absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
Helping one another. That's right.
Helping one another. Yeah. And then I've also been part of the Air Force's, it's their Air Force Wounded Warrior Caregiver Program, which is not the same as the VA caregiver program. The Air Force is and Space Force, because they're connected. They're the only branches of the military to offer a program specifically for the caregivers, and that is resiliency training. It is putting caregivers with subject matter experts. It's also networking with other caregivers. So I'm a peer mentor. I've been a peer mentor for many years now, and caregivers that are just starting out on their journey. I'm able to kind of share some guidance of things to come, maybe some things to keep an eye out for, things to advocate for. I'm able to share that because I didn't have that when I was starting. I hit the ground, hit my face so many times and got back up. But so now they have the peer mentor program, which is amazing. And I love to say that the Air Force is the only branch. Well, it was Space Force.
And Space Force.
Which is where I got my cool shirt from. So
I'm excited to see what happens with Space Force.
I am too.
I am too.
I'm really well, we know they're going to do great things because they're our military.
Absolutely.
And but I think it's really important, when there's all these satellites and stuff out there, and I want to know that they're taking care of us.
Yeah. Oh, they are.
I believe that. I believe that.
Our military is nothing but the elite.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I believe that. And but it is kind of exciting to think about,
New branch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll see what the future brings.
Mm-hmm.
Do our astronauts come under Space Force, or are they separate, you think?
NASA, that'd be NASA. That's NASA. So they would be independent. But you know what?
Yeah,
they could be.
They are independent. Mm-hmm.
But it could be part of it.
And
some of our astronauts are active duty. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, we just don't know what the future holds right here now, but I am looking forward to seeing what it develops because it's brand new,
Yes.
It's still brand new.
It is. It's very new and it's exciting. Now, if we can get someone, why did my nephew not join the Space Force? I actually told him that. I'm like,
what did he say?
He said no. That's all he said. He's a young man of few words.
Well, that's true. So is his brother.
Yes, typical young men. No.
They're very quiet. They're very quiet and reserved.
Yes, and that's okay.
Yes.
And I'm super excited to see what his future is like. Sir Grace and I are planning on going to his graduation, and I plan on being that auntie that.
Where do you think that will be? Do you have an idea?
I do know the date, and I'll get with you at another time.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, okay, cool.
But I plan on taking that nice little road trip, and as I told my sister, I'm like, I can get myself into the gate. I'm going to see this boy graduate.
I think they would let us in to see him graduate.
Oh, I know they will, because I'm going to be that cray lady.
Let her in. She's not going away.
I ain't going away. I'm here to scream for him and his unit and go, that's the best one. No, I'm really excited. It'll be my second graduation, military graduation to see. I did not see Sir Grace graduate from basic. we were engaged. You know, it's funny. A lot of people don't realize that I'm the first wife and only for Sir Grace. Like they always think that I'm like a second wife or a third wife. I'm like, no, no, the military was part of our plan when we were young and dumb and we he actually was going to go into the army. He took the ASVAB and he didn't pass the ASVAB, but he passed the one for the Air Force, which is kind of our funny little story. But he studied for the Air Force. He just didn't study for the Army, but he got a real good score for the Air Force, and that's where God led him. And yeah, so I didn't see him graduate. I did get pictures. His parents went to the graduation and they were there for him. And he called me shortly after he had graduated. So it was really good to hear his voice.
Yeah.
But I did go to a graduation. I was with other Air Force caregivers, and they asked us if we would like to go see a basic training graduation. And we were all like, yeah, let's do it. And it was the most exciting things. You knew that they were there to protect our country, that they had volunteered. It was an all volunteer force.
Yes.
And I don't know, I just felt humbled to be there and to watch the families support their loved ones. It was incredible, you know, and it forever changed my life. And I'm so grateful to each person that does that to serve our country. It just means the world to me. You know, you guys are heroes, period. I know Sir Grace hates it when I say he's a hero, but he is. And you are a hero too, Aunt Lynn. You serve this country I so dearly love.
Yes, you did.
You.
Yes, she is.
Yes. So thank you for your service. I truly appreciate it. And to every veteran out there.
Yes. Yes.
Thank
As we
you.
look through the list, we had an Air Force person here. Let's see.
Yes, we did. And we have an Air Force brat.
Yes.
Yep. And then we have an Army dad.
Yes.
We have another Air Force brat. I'm kind of going back through here. We have a soldier's family currently serving overseas in the chat.
Yeah.
And
of course, Scott's son is in the Canadian military.
He's in the Canadian. Yes. And the Army is where his son is at.
Yeah.
Rebecca, touched by yarn, said, my father, sister, cousins, and nephew have all been in the military.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Military family.
Yes.
Yes.
Military family.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Beverly's father served in the Army.
Yes. Army brat.
Yes.
And then did Scotty Lone Cross, did you serve in the military? I was thinking you did. Let's see here. I'm not sure. So let me know if you served in the military, if you're still in the chat. I think you did. And then of course, Josh was in the Army.
Yes.
I don't want to forget him.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He's out hunting.
Yes, he is. He is. So I just want to take the time to say thank you to each of our veterans.
Yes.
I mean it. You served our country I so dearly love. I am so proud of you. And I just want to take also a quick second to say thank you to our Vietnam era veterans.
Yes, absolutely.
And welcome home.
Yes.
It was because of you guys that Sir Grace was welcome home with dignity and pride.
Yes.
And I am so sorry for what you went through, but you are a hero and I appreciate you. So welcome home.
Yes.
Welcome home.
Welcome home.
So anyhow, but I hope that each and every veteran gets out tomorrow. I know there's a lot of really cool things going around in different communities, free meals. There's little programs. Some of the VFWs and the American Legions are doing different things. And our local big city just down the road, they're having a parade to honor veterans. So I hope that you are out and about and get to feel the love and warm hugs, because we appreciate each and every single one of you. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to wrap it up. But thank you so much to Aunt Lynn and to Mom for joining me
welcome.
today
Oh, sure. You're
Right.
welcome.
and helping me honor our veterans who have served this country. And and Jesse, he was a soldier. I have that real quick. I have to tell you,
Yes.
we were not allowed to film on Fort Knox because it is it's against the law. It's a federal offense if you film. But I had the best time going around Fort Knox and learning more about that installation and hearing his stories. I'll tell you, that was the coolest thing. If you can find a veteran and take them back to where they graduated from basic and just listen to the stories, I highly encourage you to do it because it's really cool to sit in the car and go, I went here and I did this and this and this and this. I mean, it was a kid in a candy store. It was the best experience. I wish I could have filmed it. But yeah, it was really awesome. So Jesse, if you're listening, thank you for your service to this country. I appreciate you. So,
And that's Jesse and Lisa from Lazy Days Ahead.
yes, for sure. And then
Yeah.
on Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is Sergeant Talk TV. And I know that they have a different talk or a different like topic every week. So definitely go check them out. That's Jason and Mike. They're battle buddies. And I enjoy listening in. Sometimes I'll pop in and go, Dependopotamus reporting for duty, sir. So anyhow, but they're a hoot, and I enjoy listening to the two of them. So anyhow, have a wonderful Veterans Day. Do something special for yourself, and as always, be kind to somebody. You just don't know what they're going through. And we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.